again, let me echo my theme. Let's not be afraid of some optimism.
Okay, you say that, but you actually said that in 2007, right before the second worst downturn in American history. This is what you wrote. There's no recession coming. This is in December of 07. The pessimistas were wrong. It's not going to happen. The Bush boom is alive and well. It's finishing up its 6th consecutive year with more to come. The more to come was a massive downturn. So I admire your optimism, but the data is pointing in another direction.
Well, I plead guilty to that late 2007 forecast. I plead guilty. By the way, every other forecaster, CBO,
you weren't alone. You weren't
OMB,
alone. That's
Blue
right.
Chip,
you weren't alone.
They were all there. However, just a wee bit of Kudlow defense now. By February and March on CNBC in those days, I did go to the recession call. So I will plead that I did see it. I don't know that anybody saw that kind of crash. But look, this is not then. This is not
Peter Schiff, today was a big day for stocks, number one. And number two, the leaders were the commodity-type stocks, the cyclical stocks, one could say the inflation stocks. Will it continue?
I don't even think it was a big day for the market in general. I mean, the Dow lost value today priced in gold. Maybe it held its own priced in oil. But, I think you said it right at the first part of the program, that inflation is a monetary phenomenon. And, money supply and credit has been going through the roof for the past decade. For a while it went into the stock market, and then that bubble burst, and it went over into the real estate market. And now that bubble has burst.
Right. And how long do you reckon that can last before that does some serious damage to the economy?
Well, it's already done. Look, the damage has already been done. The U.S. economy is already deindustrialized, basically. We're on life support from foreign central banks. I mean, if we were a stock, we'd already be broke.
All right. Pretty gloomy. I appreciate it.
I don't know that anybody saw that kind of crash.
Why do you think that a recession is coming, and just how bad is it going to be?
I think it's going to be pretty bad, and whether it starts in 07 or 08, I think, is immaterial. And I also think it's going to last not just for quarters, but for years. See, the basic problem with the U.S. economy is we have too much consumption and borrowing and not enough production and savings. And what's going to happen is the American consumer is basically going to stop consuming and start rebuilding his savings, especially when he sees his home equity evaporate. And when you have the economy 70% consumption, you can't address those imbalances without a recession. Rather than the recession being resisted, it should really be embraced, because the disease is all this debt-financed consumption. The cure is that we stop consuming and start saving and producing again, and that's a recession. And sometimes, medicine tastes bad, but you got to swallow it.
Art Laffer, you hear him? He says the consumer's going to slow down in order to rebuild the savings. And you know that 2/3 of the American economy is driven by the consumer. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe any of it whatsoever, Michelle. Excuse me. But, what he's saying is that savings is way down in this country, but wealth has risen dramatically. The United States economy has never been in better shape. There is no tax increase coming in the next couple of years. Monetary policy is spectacular. We have freer trade than ever before. And not only that, but there are no incomes policies things here. I think Peter's just totally off base, and I don't think it's going to be... I just don't know where he's getting his stuff.
Well, one of us is off base, but it's definitely not me. It's not wealth that's increased in the last few years. We haven't increased our productive capacity. All that's increased is the paper values of our stocks and real estate. But that's not real wealth, no more than the NASDAQ was wealth. When you see the stock market come down and the real estate bubble burst, all that phony wealth is going to evaporate. And all that's going to be left is all the debt that we accumulated to foreigners.
Peter, I'm going to take a bet with you on this one. I'll bet you a penny on this one that if you'll sign a letter saying that if you're wrong, you'll sign a letter that you were wrong to me in this, but you're just way off base. There is nothing out there that tells us we're going to have a nice slowdown, but it's not going to be a crash.
All right, let me ask you this.
I'll bet you a lot more than a penny. But because we've had such artificially low interest rates, which are quickly going to become a thing of the past,
I don't know about that. Hold on, Peter. The 10-year yield is still... the Fed keeps going and going and going here, and the long end of the curve doesn't move.
Thank you, Michelle.
A lot of people have adjustable rate mortgages that are going to reset over the next couple of years, and people are going to see their monthly mortgage payments go up by 50%, 100%, And a lot of that is going to take a lot of spending away from the economy because people are going to be spending whatever money they have.
And what about
on
the people who
interest
earn the interest, Peter? I
Yeah,
mean, come on, it's a
Art.
zero-sum game. Every
Art.
interest dollar paid is interest dollar earned.
The people that earn the dollars are in China and in Japan and in Europe. They're not in America anymore. We don't owe it to ourselves. We owe it
Oh,
abroad.
my goodness. I have never heard so many mistakes made in seriatim in my life, Peter.
Well, then you ought to listen to your own clip.
I don't know that anybody saw that kind of crash.
Lower energy prices, Fed on hold, strong corporate earnings. What's not to like, Peter?
Well, there's a lot to like, but I think the market's going up now mainly because people are chasing it. There's liquidity there, but I think the people buying U.S. stocks are underestimating several things. They're underestimating just how bad the recession is going to be that I think is going to start next year. They're underestimating just how badly that's going to impact corporate earnings. This is not a bull market anymore. And if you want to know what's going to cause this recession, look at the home market. You're going to see housing prices down dramatically in the next year. The reason we've had this economy, our economy has been based on consumer spending. GDP is 70% consumer spending. Where are consumers getting that money? They're borrowing against the equity in their homes. And not only is the equity in their home going to disappear, but the cost of those adjustable rate mortgages, which are all going to reset over the next year or two, are going to go through the roof.
I don't know that anybody saw that kind of crash.
You know what? What you're talking about is way in the future or way in the past.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about right now.
Not true. Not true at all. Not true at all.
Well,
not true at all. 2017, the budget goes bankrupt. The Social Security
Forget about
Trust Fund goes
2017.
bankrupt.
We're not going to make it to 2017.
Oh, my
wait a
God.
minute, wait a
I got to
minute.
get my
We're gonna have
Kevlar
March.
umbrella out.
Peter, are you worried about those new ballistic missiles that China has
No.
that apparently can hit New York?
We're not going to. China's not going to hurt us. We're hurting ourselves. We're the ones that have destroyed our own economy. We've gutted our manufacturing base. We've just been going on a consumption binge where we borrow money like drunken sailors from the rest of the world and blow it. And sure, the Chinese and the Arab countries and the rest of the world, they're going to take a hit because the money they loaned us, we can't pay it back. But we're going to take a much bigger hit because now our economy is going to collapse.
I'm getting a body bag brought out for you, Peter.
But why
I'm
do I
going to
need a
get
body
one
bag?
delivered to you. I'm getting one delivered.
Bring two. It could go either way.
I don't know that anybody saw that kind of crash.
And that's going to compound the problems for the housing market, which are just getting started.
That's Peter Schiff, everybody, those of you who don't know. But, Peter, why hasn't it happened yet? Why hasn't the collapse happened? Why hasn't the skeleton, the subprime skeleton, come fully out of the closet and scared the living daylights out of everybody?
It takes a while. It takes a while for this stuff to filter through. Look at how long these hedge funds were able to pretend that these subprime debt securities that they hold actually have value or close to par when they're really practically worthless, if not completely.
And now
worthless.
that they're not pretending anymore, nothing's happened. The world hasn't ended. So one of these days, we're just going to have to stop predicting that this same old thing is going to cause the end of the world.
The U.S. economy is on the verge of a massive recession. I don't know why anybody would want to invest in companies that are in business selling products to over-leveraged Americans. You're going to see housing prices in many markets cut in half. Americans are going to see their biggest asset turn into their biggest liability. And a lot of corporations that have been earning money in America, their customers, Americans, aren't going to have any money to spend. They're going to be spending whatever they earn on higher mortgage payments, on higher taxes, on higher interest rates, on higher food prices, on high oil prices. They're not going to have any more money for corporate earnings. And corporations themselves are going to be struggling with their own debt problems.
I don't know that anybody saw that kind of crash. But look, this is not then. This is not then. This is not then.